let's talk about talking. Hey guys, I'm Arlene and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be sharing 5 tips for writing great dialogue. But very quickly, before I dive into that, if you want to read a fantasy action adventure novel, which has great dialogue by the way, check out my debut novel, To Wear a Crown. You can find it at all online retailers, link in the description box below. Then I also launched my freelance editing and proofreading business at the beginning of June. So if you would like editing and proofreading services at a more affordable price, check out Gentle Sea Editing, link in the description box below. Now, without any further self-plugs, let's dive into the 5 tips for writing great dialogue. Tip number 1, make it sound natural. Note that I say natural and not realistic. So dialogue should mimic the way people speak in real life, but with some refinement. So in terms of making it sound like people speak in real life, mimicking that, don't use overly formal language. There's not necessarily always correct usage and grammar and punctuation. So don't be overly particular necessarily about doing those things in the accurate way you'd use for the rest of your prose, unless it fits that particular character specifically. So use contractions, interruptions, hesitations, some slang to add a bit more authenticity and to make it sound like natural speech. But note the but with refinement part. In everyday life, people talk a lot without saying much. Let's be fair. You only have a certain amount of words in a book, and you want everything you write to have some sort of purpose in that story. So readers don't want to read the whole small talk of a conversation unless it's important for a specific reason or there's important body language or subtext going on. So you don't have to know, hi, hello, how are you? No, I'm good. I just saw this thing on Netflix that you should check out. It's I can't really remember the name. Didn't you say you were going on vacation? A lot of that is not stuff that characters need to know, but that's the way that people would talk in normal life. Like people have uhs and ums and humming and stuttering and stuff, and they talk about things that aren't really important just to talk. We're social creatures, that's fine. But in your novel, you can add a little bit of this to add authenticity, but don't 100% imitate real life speech. Make it sound natural, but with some refinement. So an interjection here or there is fine. Or a here or there is fine, but not in every line of dialogue. And once again, small talk is rarely even fun for the people having it. So readers don't want to read that unless, like I say, there's something specific happening in terms of body language or tension or something that you want to convey through the small talk. Tip number 2, show character through dialogue. So dialogue is an excellent tool to showcase a character's personality, background, and motivations. It's a way of showing the character rather than telling the reader about the character. So each character should ideally have a distinct voice. Don't take this too far by literally trying to make each character sound completely different, but there should be little variations in the dialogue of all the characters. So they should have a distinct voice and speak in a manner that is consistent with their background, their upbringing, their traits and experiences. So use dialogue to convey their emotions, their values, and their unique quirks. Does one of your characters speak overly formally? Does one of your characters swear a lot? Does another one use a lot of slang? Does one have a particular accent? With accents, just watch out. It can sometimes be very cool and charming to include something where you spell words in a way to convey an accent. Just be careful that you don't do it in an offensive way. So just do your research beforehand on whether it's okay to do that specific accent that way and don't take it too far. Tip number 3, keep it concise and powerful. So like I said while discussing tip 1, dialogue should be concise. It should serve a purpose. It should advance the story, develop the characters, or reveal information. It shouldn't just be there for the sake of being there. Avoid excessive small talk, unrelated banter unless it serves a specific purpose or adds depth to that character or to the scene. Try to say things in a natural way without using too many words. Try to keep your dialogue impactful, and the way to keep it impactful is not to have too much of it. That doesn't mean that all your characters have to talk in like short, choppy sentences. It just means that you choose dialogue carefully to make it purposeful and to make it powerful. Tip number 4, use indirect communication and subtext. Oftentimes people don't actually say what they really mean, or the way they say something isn't representative of their true feelings, and that can add a lot of depth to your dialogue and in turn to your entire book. So incorporate subtext in your scenes with dialogue, where the characters convey their true thoughts and feelings indirectly. So this can be literally, like I said, in the words, where you have a subtle sarcasm, a play on words that create kind of intrigue and tension in the conversation, or it can be through the prose in between the dialogue, what the character does with their body language in opposition to what they're saying, how the character's voice is sounding, what they're thinking. If that doesn't correspond 100% with the dialogue itself, that's a great way to create tension and to keep the reader intrigued. Then tip number 5, use conflict and tension. Dialogue that is just pleasantries and everyone agreeing is okay, but it's not as exciting as when there's a little bit of conflict and tension. So dialogue that is laden with that tension is really intriguing, and it can really propel the story forward. So have there be disagreements and misunderstandings or differing objectives between characters having a conversation. So this will make the dialogue more dynamic and that scene more intriguing, but it'll also keep the reader invested in the outcome of the conversation. It really is a great way to introduce little differences between characters, little bit of friction that just adds another layer of conflict to the whole story. And conflict is essentially what makes a plot a plot. But essentially, experimentation and practice is the key. You need to develop your own unique style of dialogue writing and what works for you. Yes, practice and writing a lot and experimenting with new things, but also getting feedback on that writing to know whether what you're doing conveys each character a little bit differently, sounds natural, has enough subtext and tension in there, and is actually purposeful to the story. So yeah, those are my 5 tips on how to write great dialogue. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also remember to hit that subscribe button and ring that little bell so you don't miss any videos. I upload writing advice videos on Wednesdays and book reviews on some Fridays. As always, you can find me on my website, Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, TikTok, and BookBub. All the links are listed below, and then I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!